What is a cheap hobby to pick up in college? Depending on your living situation, kitchen access, meal plan, etc. Cooking. A lot of my friends in college spent a lot of money at restaurants that they could have saved by making the same shit at home. You can get pots and pans at Goodwill. You already need to eat, so why not be good at it? Recipes on the internet, instructional videos on the internet. Lifelong skill that you lose a lot. Impressive to people who can't do it. I always look out for marked down meat or produce, and I plan everything for the week ahead of time, which helps prevent food waste and keeps it cheap. I think this one is very important. When my husband and I first got married, we saved a lot from learning how to cook. My bank has a monthly spending pie chart. The costs from going out to eat dropped $300. I had no idea I was spending so much on work luncheons and going out to eat with friends. Going to conferences / classes / networking events outside of your discipline makes you a lot sharper between the ears. Crochet or knitting. Startup cost is like $20 for hook / needles and a ball of yarn. Be careful though, it can become addicting if you mistakenly pet some fancy expensive yarn, but it can definitely be cheap if you want it to be. You can almost always get Jones or Michael's coupons, and it is great for inexpensive baby shower gifts. I'm making a baby blanket right now, and it's true, some yarn can be expensive, but there is a lot of good quality yarn for decent price. And bonus for Michael's coupons. That's what I do. Lockpicking. Yes, great skill to learn. It can open a lot of doors for you down the road. Agreed. It's truly the key to success. It's a good way to pick your own career. Fitness. Your college probably has a gym you can use for free. Gain that healthy habit now if you already do sports or did sports. Continuing in college is probably a good idea. They should be drop-in sports and other stuff offered by the school's recreation department. Also fun way to meet people. Tending a Bolivian burrowing fish. Get a mason jar. Fill it 65% with aquarium pebbles. Fill it with water about 2 inches above that. When people visit, describe it as your Bolivian burrowing fish and explain that he's just under the rocks right now. Congrats. You now have a pet that will never die that you can tell people about. For advanced users, tell Trixie / or she has done in the past. I see my first suggestions already mentioned. Volunteer at an animal shelter. Get a cheap instrument and learn it. Birdwatch. Nature observe. Go hiking. Try geocaching perhaps. Play Pokemon Go and get really into the local scene. If you're into walking around anyway and don't mind playing a mobile phone game while you do it, get into cooking. Yes, this can be very expensive, but it doesn't have to be. Start off Googling cheap dorm meals or meal prep on a budget and get a crock pot and start providing a weekly meal to friends so you can test your skills. Make them bring the booze and you'll all win in that situation. Scrapbooking doesn't have to be expensive. Likewise, genealogy doesn't have to be, at least at the beginning stages. Yoga. Anything you can learn easily by watching YouTube videos and then expand away from the computer. Indoor situations. Nighttime whatever. You can consider taking up online poker for play chips and take the tutorials and learn strategy and play against computers or strangers without actually gambling. Horticulture / buy some cool looking plants or flowers and ask the place how to care for them properly and maybe start an indoor garden of herbs or vegetables. This can be combined with cooking. Masturbation is pretty cheap and I'm sure it's helped many students pass the time. And if you're not shy and invest in a webcam, it can pay for itself. Hibernation. Edit. I woke up from my own hibernation to find silver and gold medals and over 10k upvotes. It was a pleasant thing to find all my fellow hibernators. My favorite hobby, TBH. Homemade salsa will make you popular. r/salsasnobs has recipes. That's my hobby. It's something you can do in between all the casual sex and disc golf you're going to be doing. Cooking can be as cheap or expensive as you want. It is a lifelong skill and makes for an inexpensive date night that puts you steps from the bedroom instead of miles. If you like animals, volunteer as an animal socializer at your local shelter. You get to pet and walk all the animals, help present them to potential new parents. That's how I ended up with an emotionally needy pitbull cross. Second day volunteering. She climbed into my lap and I took her home the next day. 8 years later, she is currently snoring on my couch. Edit. Do not adopt a dog if you want a cheap hobby. Vet bills and food aren't cheap. Bird watching and plant identification. It's nice to go on a hike if you've got any trails nearby. Plus you can set out a hammock or blanket and study outside. Being outside is good for stress release too. Edit. Wow. So many upvotes. I'm pleased there are so many of us that love the world. That's a plant. That's a plant. That's not a plant. That's a rock that looks like a plant. That's a plant. That reminds me of a story. So we were taking a trolley around downtown and my mom was giving us a tour. We passed by many significant buildings, Via Lamo, Hemisphere, etc. But the whole time she was saying that's a bar, that's a bar, that's a hotel with a really good bar. Her giggling kept interrupting her tour guide voice. It was one of the funniest things we've all done together. Learn calligraphy. It's enjoyable and a good way to make money on the side doing small projects for people, invitations, announcements, posters, etc. Distance running. My college had a running club and I got access to a bunch of parties and social events in addition to staying fit and going to competitions with other schools. Running is a shit hobby. I did it for a while and then I was really far from home and had to go all the way back. Magic. All you need is a deck of cards plus free tutorials on YouTube. Edit. Magic as in magician. It's useful at parties since you can entertain and it makes you develop good social/showmanship skills.